South Africa and Malaysia have many similarities in terms of historical experience, social composition, and developmental needs, and are so similar sized and structured. Let's kickstart our discussion by you outlining a detailed background on the history and the state of bilateral relations between Malaysia and South Africa.
Yes, Thelma, I think that's a perfect place to start. You know, the historical ties between the peoples of Malaysia and South Africa predate the formal establishment of diplomatic relations on 8th November 1993. So these links can be traced back to the 17th century, when large numbers of Malays arrived in South Africa. And today we see their descendants, the Cape Malays, have become an integral part of this country. So Malaysia achieved its independence in 1957, and one of our first independent foreign policy decisions was to identify ourselves with the cause of the South Africans and firmly rejecting apartheid. Our relations with South Africa since then have flourished, and today we have two sovereign and successful states who value peace, stability, justice, diversity, and democracy. And both countries have also cooperated well in areas of common interest at the multilateral fora, under the UN, NAM, and the Commonwealth, just to name a few.
Bilateral relations between Malaysia and South Africa have been stagnant in the past decade or so, including no high-profile visits for both countries. What could this be attributed to?
Well, Thelma, that's not to say that bilateral relations are not in a good place. You know, Malaysia and South Africa, we enjoy very strong bonds of friendship. Our leaders try to meet when the opportunities arise. Now, most recently, on 17th of November last year, President Cyril Ramaphosa and our Prime Minister Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim had a very fruitful bilateral meeting on the sidelines of the G20 summit in Brazil.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and we at the High Commission, we also try to engage as much as we can with administration personalities and leaders. And we're very grateful to have had many opportunities last year, including with the DIRCO Minister and the Deputy Minister on a few occasions. You know, but Thelma, of course, it's the high-level visits that draw the most attention, and rightly so. I know that both sides are working on realizing the exchange of high-level visits in the not-too-distant future. You know how it is, right? So without giving too much away, I can say that I'm optimistic that we will see these visits hopefully happen this year, which will surely provide the catalyst to further strengthen our relations.
Malaysia has recognized South Africa as the most strategic and important country in Africa, as well as a gateway to Africa. Similarly, Malaysia plays a role of a gateway to ASEAN for South Africa. What is the trade balance between South Africa and Malaysia?
Well, in terms of economic relations, Malaysia and South Africa are indeed important partners. I recall just now you said in your question that Malaysia has recognized South Africa as the most strategic and important country in Africa, and I was hoping you would say that South Africa recognizes Malaysia as the, but depending on the year, South Africa is either the largest, most of the time the largest, or the second largest trade partner for Malaysia and Africa. I do not yet have the full figures for 2024, but from January to November 2024, total trade between Malaysia and South Africa amounted to $1.63 billion, and DIRCO will be very happy to hear that the trade balance in that period was in South Africa's favor to the tune of about $80 million. So just to mention some stats to give you a broader picture, in 2023, bilateral trade was about $1.8 billion, and for 2022, it was almost $2.4 billion. Malaysian palm oil is showing encouraging trends. From January to November 2024, we exported more than 250,000 tons of palm oil to South Africa, valued at about $260 million. This is compared with 116,000 tons for the same period in 2023. So if my maths is right, that's a healthy 71% year-on-year growth. South Africa mainly imports petroleum products, palm oil and palm oil-based products, transport equipment, and metal manufacturers from Malaysia. And on the other hand, Malaysia mainly imports metal-related manufacturers, ores, agricultural products, processed food, and mining-related products from South Africa.
Please talk us through some of Malaysia's presence in the African continent.
Yes, you're right, Thelma. We have a good presence in the African continent. Perhaps not so prominent as some of the bigger countries. But besides South Africa, we have active resident diplomatic missions in Namibia, Nigeria, Senegal, Zimbabwe, Egypt, Ghana, Kenya, Guinea, Morocco, and Algeria, if I count them correctly. Our missions in Sudan and Libya are temporarily inoperative, for obvious reasons. So in the shadow of perhaps more prominent engagements in South Africa by the likes of, say, China and the West, Malaysia is still very much engaged in the continent. When we talk about Africa's international partners and investors here, I believe experienced observers will recognize Malaysia is indeed a special African partner.